Fire, 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 fire.
Well, it's the middle of June, which means a few things. Pride Month is in full effect, against the wishes of people who suck. People across the country are trying to figure out what to buy their fathers for Father's Day. Quick tip, there's no good answer to that question. And finally, cities and towns across this great United States are full of double-parked moving vans because for some reason, everyone's lease is up in June. Ah, yes, moving.
Well, yeah, because everyone moves in June because it's nice and warm. Duh!
The worst thing a human being can experience besides childbirth or, like, breaking a femur. You can call me a soft-handed baby bitch all you want, but if I have to try and fit a sofa through a door frame that's too small or drive an oversized U-Haul on a tiny road, I'm gonna end up—
I totally agree. I hate moving. I hate moving so much because packing everything sucks. Ah!
on the news. Moving is obviously a nightmare, but people also don't realize the problems that come before you even start moving. Apartment hunting, dealing with your old landlord and your new landlord, paying for a bunch of fees you didn't know existed. And I know what you're thinking, oh, Tucker—
having to say hi to your new neighbor because you're antisocial and you fucking hate human interaction. Yep. That's me in a nutshell. Hate meeting new people.
I love apartment hunting. I love going on Zillow in the middle of December to see apartments that I can never afford for the rest of my life. But if you've ever moved apartments, you know that is the surface level BS that you get to enjoy before you dive deep into the iceberg. So let me break down all the pains and scams that come with finding a new apartment in the hopes that I just make you not move at all. Because even though your current apartment might suck, there's nothing that sucks more than getting a new one. Back to you, Tom.
True that.
Just a heads up, there was an overwhelming amount of terrible facts and statistics that I found about the renting industry and also apartment hunting as a whole, so this whole video is going to be a little scatterbrained, but it's just going to be, you know, really sad the whole time, so that's good. But let's start slow and see where the end-stage capitalism ball rolls, okay? So we have apartments, the poor man's version of a home and the rich man's version of a refrigerator box. Apartments have been a staple of city life ever since the Roman Empire. Throughout history, they've been crucial in allowing societies to grow by providing
I did not know they had apartments in Rome. I did not know that. That's interesting.
Housing to immigrants and low-income workers. It also allows people like me to enjoy parts of the country they would never be able to afford normally, and just waste money. I'm wasting money living in New York City. You know.
I think my biggest gripe with renting is that it's quite literally like a mortgage on a house sometimes. At times, it feels like you're just paying into nothing and burning money.
There's some perks that come with apartment living. You don't have to fix anything. That being said, no one fixes anything because landlords suck, but you do have to—
yeah, or they like make you sit around and wait until it gets fixed and then you're just like, hey, I'm dying, and they're like, what? You're dying? I better call out the guy. Maybe they'll show up.
Pay rent, and that doesn't go to anything, and mortgages— that you end up eventually owning the place you live. I don't know. Maybe apartments aren't great. And it's getting worse, actually, because between 2015 and 2020, affordable housing units declined by 4.7 million. So it's kind of hard to find one. So let's take a little stroll down statistic lane and find out exactly why things are rapidly approaching shit town. As we all know, it's really, you can't own a house anymore. So a lot of people are going towards apartments. 38 million.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They're like inverses of each other. Isn't that wonderful?
38 million Americans, in fact, live in apartments. Huzzah. And because of this, the U.S. is projected to need 4.3 million more apartments by 2035 to keep up with population growth. And the good news is we are building more apartments. We're currently building more apartments right now than we have for the last half century. That's why you see all those ugly buildings popping up with this horrible kind of architecture.
Oh, I hate this. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and then I think to myself, what kind of sucker lives in there? And then you like go inside and you're like, oh wait, I live in here. They're so ugly.
I don't know what this is, but it makes me want to die. Because of those ugly ass things, nearly 1 million new apartments are going to be popping up by 2025, which would be great if they weren't all for rich people. All of them are being made for rich people. Nearly 90% of new apartment buildings are being built for high-income customers. You know, the type of person that could afford to buy a house. They're building—
I don't get it. I don't get it. I will never understand people who have a lot of money and they just make dipshit decisions anyway. I don't understand.
They're building them for some reason. Okay, so not a great start. But we can take a look at something a little bit more fun. How about the current state of rent prices? This video is going to be a bummer, inside and out. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development defines affordable rent as no more than 30% of your income, okay? So if you make $40K a year, you should be paying $12K a year in rent, and that's $1,000 a month in rent. I'm good at math. But between 2019...
That's crazy. When I made about 30K a year, I had to pay $900 a month. Not including... Not including, what is it called? Electricity and gas. Yeah, that's crazy. Something about this don't add up.
In 2023, wages increased by 20% and rent increased by 30%. Not good. Not good at all. Because of that, 21.6 million Americans...
Look at this, like... That's fucking terrible.
Are paying way more than 30% of their monthly income on rent. According to a recent study, households with an annual income under $30,000 only have about $310 left over each month after paying rent and utilities.
Wow, $300 is a lot. I used to get by with $100 for groceries, entertainment, and what is it called? Like MMO subscriptions. I used to have to ration my MMO binges because I couldn't afford to. I'd be literally, okay, Final Fantasy, I'm gonna try it out, so I have to cancel my World of Warcraft subscription, and then I'd have to go and play Final Fantasy for 30 days. And otherwise I wouldn't get my money's worth because I couldn't start a new subscription because it's too expensive.
But who needs things like entertainment, or friends, or daycare, or education? Who needs those things when you got a roof, huh? You know what they say, shelter is the main top priority in living a healthy life. Oh man, it's only the bottom of that triangle. I know what you're thinking, Tucker, all the people complaining about rent prices are just those fancy fat cats living in big cities. You could live in a small little shitty city and save a bunch of money. I personally live
No, it doesn't matter. I live in a tiny town. It doesn't matter.
in Natick, Nebraska, and I only pay $0.05 of rent a month, so I don't know what the big
No, they don't. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. If you live in the boonies, maybe, but even then...
is about. Well, you make a good point. Living in some U.S. cities is cheap as hell. I'll give it to you. I mean, it also coincides with lower wages. You're not going to find like an 80K job out the gate when you move to Nebraska. But you know, there's pros and cons to living in a big city compared to a small city. Like sometimes you want to go to a restaurant that you haven't been to a million times, or meet someone new that you haven't met already 20 times at the...
And you also have to keep in mind, those places out in the boonies aren't going to have jobs that you're qualified for, that you can get a job to like fulfill that need. So you're kind of like stuck in a predicament.
Local supermarket. So to weigh the pros and cons of which American city you should get an apartment in, I have created a completely scientific breakdown of the cheapest and most expensive American cities for a one-bedroom apartment. That way we can look at the numbers and find a balance between boring and sad and fun and expensive. On the cheap side, we have Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would make fun of that city name, but I live in New York, New York, so whatever. Rent on average is only $850 a month, which is pretty great, but it also sees more tornadoes than any other U.S. city, which is
Yay! Tornadoes!
Crazy, and it also has the highest rate of suicide.
Chad, don't listen. Don't go to Oklahoma.
Highest rate is... Holy fuck. Good rent, though. Good rent prices. On the expensive side, we have...
It's because Oklahoma sucks.
Boston, Massachusetts. It's got a lot of stuff to do. It's got a bunch of college kids running around. Its food is like a 7 out of 10, kinda. It's not really known for its food. But it has one of the worst skylines out of every American city. And also, no matter what race or creed you are, you will be hate crimes. So, the rent is $27.
Wait, $2,700 is cheap? Hello?
$700 a month for that luxury. For cheap, we have Omaha, Nebraska. Who doesn't love Omaha? Birthplace of the Reuben sandwich and literally nothing else. But rent is only on
but Nebraska.
Average $920 a month, which is fantastic until you realize the only thing you can spend your excess income on is either a vacation to get far away from where you live or meth. So make your decision. Expensive, Miami, Florida, a city known for doing everything the Bible tells you not to do.
Oh, he's doing expensive then cheap. Okay, I misunderstood.
Known for good restaurants, good-looking people, good-looking views, and a whole heaping of STDs. And if that's the lifestyle for you, all you have to do is pay on average $2,840.
I'm gonna throw up.
A month on rent. Good God, that is expensive. On the cheap side, we have Albuquerque, New Mexico. Not great, but it's not Arizona, and you're only paying $950 a month. Expensive. San Francisco, known for its gay population and smashed windows. $3,000 a month on rent.
Mamma mia, man. I remember when people used to say that San Francisco was like a cheap place to live. In like the 80s and 90s, it's like a good place to get started.
God damn it. Cheap, Buffalo, New York. Have you ever met someone from Buffalo, New York? It's like they all
No.
just witnessed a murder and they don't want to talk about it. On average, $1,000 for rent. Expensive. Jersey City, New Jersey. It's right next to New York City, so people who can't afford New York City go to live there, and now that's raising the rent prices because it is $3,000 a month. Just bite the bullet and get an apartment in the Bronx. Cheap, Kansas City, Missouri. It's Missouri. $1,000 a month. And then expensive, New York City. $3,500 a month, but it's New York City. The Big Apple. There's a homeless man's gonna yell at you, and then
I had a friend that would pay, I think it was like $3,800 a month for a 3-bedroom apartment in New York with like 2 bathrooms. That blew my mind. Yeah. Yeah, they moved to Texas. I don't know what happened to them, but yeah, this was a long time ago.
you get bit by a rat. There's no good place to live in this goddamn country anymore. Holy shit. So there you go. Make some decisions. Make some good decisions. Just don't move. Just don't move at all. It's time for an ad. Back to the ads. Sorry. Do you smell that? Can you smell the winds of change? The smell of a new identity blooming from a perfectly procured fragrance, not only defining who you are, but who you want to be? Or maybe it's this shirt. I haven't done laundry in a couple weeks. We're talking about Scentbird, baby. It's a fragrance delivery service that sends you new designer scents every month for just $17 a month. I mean, personally, I love walking through dead malls in order to get to a Macy's so I can buy a $150 bottle of perfume that I'm probably not gonna ever wear because it's not perfect for me. But if you aren't like me, aka smart and charming, then Scentbird has you covered. With each scent from their service, you get a 30-day supply, so you can try out fragrances before committing to a full-size bottle. It also says here it offers affordable and flexible subscription plans, and you can also skip or cancel your subscription at any time, making it a hassle-free experience. There's no surprises with what you get every month because they let you pick, which is fantastic if you're like a goat or a possum. Which is a large percentage of my following. They have over 700 perfumes and colognes and a lot of unisex options, so it's got a little something for everyone. They carry things like Gucci, Versace, Prada, as well as indie brands like Skylar, Heretic, and Confessions of Rebel. They sent me a bunch this month, and I want to talk about 2 of them. We have Mondays from Confessions of Rebel, which smells like you're going out on the weekend in a really cool way, not a douchey way. And then we have Sonic Flower by Room 1015. I think that's what the brand is.
Smells like
I asked for this one again. They gave it to me in the first one I ever made. This is the best scent I've ever had in my life. I'm going to actually buy it, and I don't wear colognes. I didn't before Scentbird, but now I do. Use code BIGTALK 55 off. 55% off your first order at Scentbird.com. And if you do the math, it's a little over $7 for your first order, and that is an insane deal. I'm sure there will be a link in my description, so click it. Scentbird. There's no slogan for Scentbird that's good enough because I've tried a million times and they don't use any of them. Not one. I'm gonna stop working with you guys if I didn't love your scents. So in 2023, 25.6 million Americans decided to move from one place to another, which is a whole bunch of people making a mistake all at once. With that many people relocating annually, it's no surprise that the moving industry constantly clears over $20 billion a year, every year. But who's raking in that cash? Well, it's mostly the moving companies. The moving companies are the ones who are making the most money off of your suffering. The backbone of an industry that begs the question, what if I didn't want to pick stuff up and instead pay an immigrant to do it for me? Well, luckily there are about 17,000 moving companies in this great old U.S.
I'm gonna have to do that because I ain't gonna have no help moving my shit. Granted, I don't really have a lot of stuff. I have a couch, a sofa, two sofas, which are like a set, and then a bed, and a table, and a chair. Yeah, that's about it. Give me a 12-pack of beer and I'll do it. Borrow your parents or brother for a day? Man, they have jobs, man. I'm not gonna bother them like that. It's fine. They live pretty far. I don't know if I want to bug them like that.
US of A, so you won't struggle finding one, but you might have a hard time finding a good one because, fun fact, over 10% of all moving companies have an F from the Better Business Bureau. That's hard to say, but that's not a good fact. And you know how all those moving companies have really good reviews online? Well, the Better Business Bureau has a statistic that says at least 9% of those are all made up. And the people who moved me into this apartment stood in front of me and said, "Can you leave us a good review?" And he was a very tall Romanian man, so I just left him a good review while he was staying.
Oh my god, I hate it when people do that. Hey, can you give me a review? And then they literally hover over you. That shit drives me insane.
Standing there, and he left. They did okay, but I wouldn't have done that. In 2022 alone, the Better Business Bureau received 15,198 formal complaints against moving companies. So let me just break down all the reasons why moving companies suck and will fuck you over in such a cataclysmic way. So when moving companies aren't outright scamming you, they're screwing you over in technically legal ways. One recent survey revealed that 64% of Americans who hired a moving company paid way more than they were quoted. About $2,200 on average, they paid more than what they thought they were gonna pay. And with all that in the mix, the average 2023 mover paid about $4,500 to get their shit moved from one place to another by using companies. I mean, of course, if you have a bunch of like armoires and grand pianos, it's gonna cost more, but on average, it's $150 an hour, and they're gonna take their sweet ass time.
Yeah, like, I think that it should be kind of like an hour thing, then plus like how much shit you have to move, rather than like the thing that's cruel about this is it's a necessity, so people aren't gonna have to pay for it. What are they gonna not pay for it and then have to do it themselves? They can't, man.
I'm getting it out of there. But keep that in mind, this doesn't count for the times that they take all your items and put them in a warehouse and hold them for ransom. Because that happens a lot. They do that a lot. So this happens when moving companies provide low initial costs. They take all your stuff, hit you with a big old bill that you weren't expecting, and you say, hey, I'm not gonna pay that. Then they just
rent a truck. Yes, let me do all the moving by myself, have no one to help me, and then drive all that shit by myself while I have 2 animals in like a cage. Good idea. Chat, like, use your noggin a little bit. Sometimes people don't have a choice. It's not that easy.
Hold all your stuff. And they say you're not going to get it back until you pay that money. And then they charge you interest every day that they have to hold your stuff. And it's a scam. It's a scam. One company in New York City got caught cheating 800 customers out of $3 million with this scam. And that's where I live. That's where I live. So all that considered, let's say you decide not to use a moving company. Well, let me tell you, that is an equally, if not more shitty move that will have dire consequences for the rest of your life. I mean, for one, moving is not a 1 or 2 person job. You're gonna have friends and family show up to help you out with.
Yeah, what if you have no friends and family? What if your family lives in a different state? What if you have no friends? You guys are so mean! Trying to reason with this
thing. And guess what? Fun fact, in the entirety of the human race, nobody has ever been pumped to help someone move ever. No one ever wants to help you do that. So now instead of paying—
I've helped people move and I felt really, really bad. I felt really bad, but I helped them anyway.
Movers, you either have to bribe or blackmail your friends and family into helping you out with pizza, beer, or a picture of them cheating on their wife. And let's say you are able to accomplish that and get all your friends to help you out. Well, it's still a dick move to ask them, so now you're losing friends and mental health for the chance to not spend any money on a mover. And then there's the matter of getting your own moving vehicle, aka U-Haul. I don't have time to go into why U-Haul sucks so much, but I'm just gonna hit the high note. You have employees that are underqualified and unhelpful on the most stressful day of your life. Hidden fees everywhere. God forbid you scratch the inside of a moving van with furniture. You're gonna—
And they also are big trucks, and you're not qualified to drive a big truck, but they do it anyway. They give it to you.
Who's not doing that every time they use a moving van? And let's not forget their reserve a truck system that does not work. You have a day that you have to move on. You call them or go online and book a truck. You show up the day of and they say, we don't have any trucks. Sorry, we don't have any trucks for you. And then they give you like $100 in compensation, as if that makes up for literally anything. U-Haul will not give you a moving truck when you need one. I can't even describe how insanely shitty that is. I have no funny comparisons or analogies to relate to U-Haul not having a moving truck for you, because there is no other company that does something like that. That's insane. Oh, and also let's not forget the fact that you just have to drive a giant box truck on a busy highway or—
That's what I'm saying, man. You want me to drive this thing or even half the size? I don't know how to freaking drive this thing. It's my first time.
Tiny streets all by yourself with no prior experience doing something like that. I almost puked the first time I had to do that. So yeah, there's no good way to accomplish a move. You either have to spend millions of dollars to get things from one room to another, or you have to lose all your friends and family. So enjoy picking one, King. Just stay where you are.
It's gonna suck.
So before you even get to move to your new but somehow shittier apartment, you have to pick your new but somehow shittier apartment. This is a situation that 20 years ago was a nightmare, but nowadays it has gotten to an apocalyptic event. The amount of BS and scams you have to deal with while apartment hunting is awe-inspiring and jaw-dropping. I'm not—
By the way, I have a personal anecdote with this. I dealt with someone who illegally subleased a apartment to me because I thought they owned it. It turns out they did not own it. They lied to me, and then I got in trouble with the landlord saying that I lied to them, and then this bitch ran away and didn't pay rent! I had to move out. I had to scramble and bring everything together within a week because this chick was this upstairs landlord was so pissed at me, and I was like, dude, I don't know anything. I can show you everything. I showed her all the text messages. She ended up saying, okay, you have like a week to move out, and I'm like, but I have a job. I have no one. I need help. I don't know how to do this. I have nowhere to go. I had to move back to my parents' place. That was so fucked up. Isn't that illegal? It's not, because, so, for those that don't understand how law works, because it's illegal subleasing, I'm not signed under contract to listen to the landlord, and neither is she, because we're not under an agreement. You guys don't understand. The chick that subleased it to me was lying to me, and I don't have the kind of money to sue her, and it's not worth it. I just yelled at her. She was like some fucking 19-year-old girl. I was 22, and I said, you're a bitch. Just make a new agreement? Oh yeah, man. You guys are legal experts for sure. The chick, what she did was illegal, but what she did, she ran away and basically ghosted me, and then came back a week later and was like, yeah, sorry, I didn't know that this was illegal. And I said, you know I could sue you if I had the money. And she's like, what? You're not gonna sue me? And I said, if I had the money, I would instantly sue you. I would make sure that you could never do this to someone else ever again. And then she ran away and never talked to me again, of course. But yeah, I was super pissed. I fucking hate scams.
I'm going to spend time on brokers, which are pretty much just real estate agents, but for apartments, and all they do is open a door and then show you around a 600-foot square apartment, and then you ask them a few questions, and then they charge you $2K when you get the apartment. The apartment housing industry is full of cockroaches and middlemen that just take money from you. And the worst part is they're feeding off of our essential need for housing. This is not like
I know, it's terrible.
A free market. You need to live somewhere because the other option is homelessness. So instead, you just accept every scam they throw your way and hope you just live somewhere soon. That's all you do. So let me just lay out.
Or they say, oh, actually, you have like, you scratched this tiny little dent in the wall even though you moved in with it, and then you have to pay $200. And you're like, what? What did I do? I didn't do that. And they say, oh, well, you did do it because you don't have proof of not doing it. Therefore, we're gonna take it out of your deposit. Yeah, that's a classic landlord move as well. Try to take pictures of any scuff marks before you move into a new place, because they'll try to ding you on it.
Some of the most common scams that come with moving and apartment hunting so that you can try and avoid them the best you can, because I didn't have a video like this when I moved, and now I can't afford to get my wisdom teeth out. But first, we have the don't ask, don't tell scams. Something that I couldn't think of a better name for, but it has nothing to do with gay people, but whatever. So when looking for a new spot to live, just assume that everyone you're talking to does not have your best interest at heart. For them, this is just a transaction, but for you, it's gonna be your home. So there's a little bit of a disconnect between how important this is. So it's really important to ask every question you possibly can when you're looking at a new apartment. Like, let's say you're one of those weirdos with an exotic bird as a pet. Just one of those perverts. Never will you ever see—
Why are you a pervert for having a bird? What the fuck?
an apartment listing that says we accept exotic birds. So you got to check in about that. But people who show you apartments are hoping you don't ask specific questions like that so they can screw you on the security deposit on the way out. They never give you a full out spiel. They always ask you if you have any questions, hoping you're not going to ask the important one. God forbid you forget to ask about hot water and then you're stuck taking cold showers for an entire year. And it is awkward just standing there asking questions of someone in a big empty apartment, but just get it all out in front because they're hoping you don't ask questions.
My biggest pet peeve is when you call out someone to look at like a place and then they just don't know anything about the place. Have you guys ever done that before? You like arrange an appointment and then you ask a bunch of questions like, so how's the internet? And they're like, oh, I don't know, I'd have to look into it. And they're like, okay, how much is the water bill on average a month for like one person? And they're like, I don't know, I'll look into it, I guess. And you're just like, why did we even come out here?
And we have the LOL JK apartment scams, which are happening way more frequently nowadays. The internet is littered with these types of horror stories. People get tricked into renting apartments that aren't actually for rent. Or they think they're renting an apartment that somebody already lives in. It's become such a problem that the FBI received 11,578 reports.
Wait, is this like how the subleasing thing? Yeah. I don't know. It's like not something you would like know about until it happens.
rental scam in 2022, an increase of
crazy.
64%. So if you see an apartment that
Huh.
looks dope as hell, but the landlord's not going to give you an in-person tour or even a virtual tour, big
That's a red flag. What are the prerequisites? Non-existing rentals, hijacked advertisements, suspicious money requests, pre-leased apartments. I did find mine on Craigslist, that one. So I guess that was kind of my fault. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. Stealing identity, missing amenities, too good to be true price.
Big red flag, huge ass red flag. This usually means that there isn't a place for rent or that they're not actually a landlord, which is crazy to me because that means there's a kind of human that's lower than landlord, which is a human pretending to be a landlord. They're just trying to get info from you or money from you, and then they're just going to ghost you. And it is crazy how much personal info you have to give to a stranger in order to get an apartment. Like they need to do a background check, they need your social security, they need you get your birthday.
They need a drug test, they need to check with the last 3 people you've had contact with. They need to see what you've eaten the last 24 hours. Classic.
It's so easy to steal someone's identity. I might just get into that business. I might give up on this YouTube shit. Also, if a landlord is super eager.
You guys do that? No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. No, I was kidding about the drug test thing. No.
For you to sign the lease and pay immediately, that's a big red flag as well. Especially if they're asking you to send money through a sketchy service like Venmo or Cash App or a wire transfer or gift cards. If you, in the modern era, are paying someone in gift cards and you don't know immediately you're getting scammed, you're a moron. You deserve to get them.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that. I think if you pay in Google gift cards, you're done. You're cooked. Do not redeem! Do not redeem!
Money taken from you if you're going to buy Google Play cards. But besides gift cards, every payment process I just mentioned is almost impossible to get your money back. So that's why they use those things. But it's also crazy because the apartment I'm standing in currently asked me to pay for my deposit through Venmo. So there's no way to know if it's a scam or not. I just had to blindly go into it because I needed a place to live. And the biggest red flag about the LOLJK scam is if they don't live in the country. Once again, pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't realize that that's a huge issue. I mean, sometimes landlords don't live in the same country where they own the property. I mean, every Chicago pay meter for parking is owned by Saudi Arabians. Fun fact. But you should insist.
Wait, what? What? Hold on, I'm gonna read this. This is actually kind of mind-blowing to me. Today I learned that in 2008, the city of Chicago sold the rights to collect revenue from its 36,000 parking meters to a foreign-owned company based in United Emirates Estate, whatever it's called. United, blah blah Emirates, receiving a one-time lump sum of 1.2 billion, I guess a 75-year lease. Wait, this is a scam! This is actually a scam for 75 years? They're making more than the money back, like 1 million times. Yeah, United Arabian Emirates. Yeah, sorry. Brain's cooked. They make 200 million a year. That city got scammed? No, for real, actually. That's so fucked.
But you should insist on meeting your landlord in person before giving them any money. I mean, even if they do live in another country, that just means you're going to have like a terrible back and forth with overseas hours on trying to get a light bulb fixed in your apartment. But I mean, a lot of the times it does mean they're scamming you. I mean, some of them have gone even so far as to send you fake keys in the mail to make you feel like you're actually getting an apartment, so you send the money. But through all of these steps, at the end of the day, if you ask to meet them in person or you ask to like see the apartment, they'll just move on to the other 500 applicants that are trying to get the same apartment. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market. Sorry, a seller's market. It doesn't matter. You're all trying to apply for these apartments because you just have nothing else. Like, you need shelter as a human.
At the end of the day, landlords end up getting the longest road and the largest army, and you're just pissing through development cards, trying to get victory points, and ending up with a pile of knights. Does anyone play Catan? Actually, you know what? Let me talk about landlords real quick.
Landlords.
I don't like the term landlord. It's too fancy of a title for what the job actually is. Here's some alternative names I've given landlords. Rent raiser, the strange bald man in my Venmo feed. Not a plumber, but the person I talk to most about my toilet. CEO of not doing anything at all. The only reason I've ever cleaned an oven ever. Cat vomit stain inspector. And the only person I still lie to about smoking weed. But let's talk about security deposits real quick.
the last one.
In 37 US states, landlords are allowed to collect interest on your security deposit, but only 5.6% of renters actually get the interest on your deposit. They don't give you the money that they're earning interest on. So not only does a landlord take your security deposit and put it in a bank and earn interest on it, but the majority of the time, people just don't get their security deposit back in the first place. Around 25% of
Oh yeah, obviously, because you scratched like the door a little bit, so it's like your entire security deposit is out the window. Yeah, I've heard that happen. Thankfully not to me, but still.
Renters do not get security deposits back based off of bullshit parameters that the landlord just made up. Only 29% of landlords give you a itemized receipt of all the things you messed up at the old apartment to prove why you don't get a security deposit back. So all that seems like we should make laws to stop this from happening, right? Well, every state has landlord-tenant laws, but because tenants are generally poorer than the landlord, we can't pursue legal action, because not only does it take $1,000 to move out of the apartment, it costs thousands of dollars to pursue that legal action about the old apartment. The net worth of most renters, which is, you know, what the money they have laying around, is $600 to $300, so they can't afford $4K in goddamn law fees. So trying to get a security deposit back while chewing up your life savings in a small claims court is just not feasible. Let's not forget about the made-up fees that your prior landlord is going to hit you with when you move out. Let's not forget about all that bullshit. Fees for not returning keys, something that they have 40 copies of in their office. Cleaning fees, you know, they charge you to clean the apartment after you leave, even though you clean the shit.
Yeah, I freaking hate that. My unironic worst dislike, my least disliked thing is cleaning the apartment after I'm done moving. That shit wears me the frick out. You have to be so thorough, and then they bitch at you and they're like, actually you didn't like clean the toilet hard enough, and you're just like, bro, I just moved the entire apartment out, and then you want me to do like a stellar job while not being like a professional maid? You can go fuck yourself.
Out of it. And fun fact, they didn't clean it before you got there, and they're not going to clean it after you leave. They charge you a fee per hole in plastic.
Is that a dick and ball hole?
Faster, because you're hanging up paintings, because you're not just gonna sit with blank white walls your whole life, but it's $50 per hole, so enjoy that. Fun fact, there was holes before I got here. Then there's painting fees. If any paint chips off the wall, which that's just bad paint job, that's your fault, and they're gonna charge you to redo it.
True.
And that's why there's little pieces of white paint on hardwood floors in New York City in every apartment, because the painters don't know how to paint. It's usually just the landlord doing it himself. He's not paying any money to do it. And there's the oven cleaning fee. I probably hit that a couple times in this video already.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Why do you care? Why do you care if I clean the oven? Oh, and they also charge you stovetop knob fees. You know, on your stovetop where they have little knobs to turn on the burners. Those are made of the same plastic of Solo cups. They break and fall off all the time, so if any of those are missing, they're gonna charge you for that. Some places charge per light bulb that is missing and busted, which is great because they wouldn't fix it while you live there, but once you leave, they can charge out the ass for it. And batteries and fire detectors. But that's on me. I take those batteries out because if I'm a little stoned, I don't want the cops showing up. So there you have it. I don't know if I explained what I was trying to explain in this video, but just don't move. It's everything about the process is terrible. Finding a new apartment, paying the movers, dealing with the landlord before and after you show up. Just stay where you live, because your devil might suck, but it's better to know your devil than meet a new one. New videos every Saturday. Thanks for sticking around. And once again, shout out to Semper for sponsoring this video. God, I love Semper. Go to semper.com and use code BigTug55 off to get 55% off your first purchase. It's $7 for your first round of cents. It's fantastic. I love Semper. Link it by. Oh my god, how did I forget about application fees? Oh my god, the fact that they charge you just to try and look at an apartment is insane.
Oh my god. I had a friend that paid over $500 in application fees, and then they ended up not moving. Can you believe that shit? 500 American dollars over like 3 or 4 months just to not move, because and then the people that they would send it to, they wouldn't even answer them. Yo guys, check them out. Big Tugg on these nuts. That was so strong.
Fire, 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 fire.